Hello and welcome to the Inbetween Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Scott. I'm joined by Tony. Tony's at RT. How are you, Tony?
Hello. It's been a while.
It has. I think it's literally been almost a month. I think it's about like 3 weeks since
Yeah.
we did the last one, which was already late.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
what was I going to
But it's
say?
been a kind of hectic month.
It's actually started. The sunshine's come out in the UK. I was out on my
Mm.
bicycle on a t-shirt and shorts, and it was like 15,
Yeah.
16 degrees.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is happening?
I I I,
We
I
just
definitely
left
agree. Like
winter.
yeah, it feels like spring and it even smells like spring. However, it's
Mm.
still really cold at night.
Speaking of beautiful spring-like areas, Valheim is a game.
Uh,
This week we're going to be talking about open source TF2. The Mad Lads at Valve finally did it. Sonic is
yep.
unleashed. The Werehog is out and he's been recompiled. And Balatro is not gambling. Apparently, Peggy
That
says
is
so.
huge.
Anything you wanted to talk about this week, Tony?
Uh, I mean, I feel like I should mention Spencer's too big release, but I feel like we've mentioned this already. I don't know. I can't remember
We
what
literally went over the
server you
store page of Space Engineers 2 when it
Yeah,
released, and you
it's been
said, "I'm
released
not
since then.
interested in this."
No, I'm not. I'm still not
Um,
interested. I
Joe
was
News
almost baited into watching a video. I ignored it.
Joe news I have this week is I have Discord uh Discord Nitro, and it gave me YouTube Premium for 3 months. Tony, I actually
Oh, okay.
and I was like, okay, I'll just I get like enhanced bitrate 1080p. I'll use that. I'll
Mm,
just turn ad blocker off because I don't need it on the YouTube. And then I was like, maybe I should actually try using YouTube Music. Tony, I kind of
yeah.
fucking love YouTube Music. It's
Yeah.
so fucking useful when
The recommendation system is great.
recommendations are great. Also, it's as like for example, I was out on my bike today. And I was listening to the Kids on the Slope soundtrack, which is not on Spotify
Mm,
because of weird regional restrictions. But if
yeah.
the thing I love about YouTube Music is like, oh, this song isn't available as like an official upload. Well, you can just listen to a YouTube video as an audio file instead, and it's so
Oh, that's
fucking
cool.
useful
I know you
because
do that.
like Spotify and other streaming services are just missing so much like soundtracks and
Yeah.
game soundtracks that I just love to listen to
Yep.
all the time. And it really is really annoying trying to compile them over there. But like on YouTube, it just makes it way easier.
I
And having the ability to like download it to my phone and then just listen to it
yeah.
when I'm out on my
Well,
bike has been really cool.
I mean, you've accidentally been using the other super feature that shouldn't be a feature of YouTube Premium, be able to listen or watch stuff without with your phone
Oh
screen
yeah, I
pull
use
up.
that all the time actually. Yeah, when I'm listening to
It's so
podcasts and
dumb. That's a
stuff.
thing.
I just keep playing it on my phone when I lock the screen, which is
Yeah,
annoying that you can't
that
do that by doing. I feel like YouTube Premium is
yeah.
better because normal YouTube is worse as a result of them locking it behind premium stuff.
Well, I genuinely think there's lots of stuff that YouTube Premium does. They don't need to be doing this, like nickel and diming all this. Oh,
At
haha, you
one
need to get
point,
this.
YouTube
I
was
just
like,
don't
we're
get
going to
it.
lock 4K behind YouTube Premium, I
Yeah,
believe, which, I mean,
we were
I'm
talking
not,
about
I don't,
that.
I think if YouTube locked 4K behind YouTube Premium, it sucks to say this, but I
I
probably
don't.
would subscribe to YouTube Premium if they did that because that's actually something that I
Yeah.
use all the time.
I think
Um,
as well, like I think it's justifiable based on like the cost of doing
but
like
it
cost of like
like the only
supporting
way I
that.
can think for them to make YouTube Premium better is by making normal YouTube worse in some respect. I mean, the
Well,
YouTube Music is good. Like that is actually a
I
very good value add.
yeah, I guess I'm not talking for like the masses here, but for me personally, like I think I would have subscribed to YouTube Premium like a couple of years ago if they weren't doing stupid things like, oh, you can't watch like this small stupid petty stuff. Like I feel like if they were just had my trust or like I felt like they're on the same page as me, like I'd be more willing to do it. But at the moment, I'm just like, no, I don't care. I'll just ad block it.
But I love like I'm getting separate recommendations in my music one than I am to my because I've been getting recommended music on YouTube for a while because I listen to music on
Yeah,
YouTube a lot. But
yeah.
my when I go on the YouTube website, it's very much more like video recommendations. When I come on here, it's like, oh, here's a song, here's a song, here's a song,
Oh,
which I'm
because
in
you've
like
oh,
very much more happy with, sort of thing.
mm-hmm.
So like, I keep saying that every time I listen to, like, I'm watching anime, I'm like, the soundtrack to this is really good, and I look up the soundtrack. It's Kensuke Ushio.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I've started getting recommended Kensuke Ushio soundtracks for anime I have not seen. So it's just like, and I'm telling you now, listen to Nighthawk from Devilman Crybaby. This fucking song is so fucking sick. Like, I don't care if the anime is good. I just want to watch it because of the soundtrack. Like, it's getting
Right,
to that
right.
point.
It's that
Um,
good.
yeah. I've been listening to a lot of the um, Machiko and Hatchkin soundtrack, which I'll talk about in a bit. Also, I think I may have found the worst Persona song in the Burning Men's Soul, is what it's called. I believe it's a song that plays in the Persona 3 anime from like 2019. I haven't watched any of the Persona
Okay.
anime stuff, but I'm very intrigued to give it a go. And it has some of the worst lyrics I've ever heard. They're dropping bars like, I'm in your house like I'm carpet. And I'm just like, this is one of the worst bars I've ever heard. Like, people have started memeing on this song because of how, like, awful it is.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, that's interesting. I found out about that meme. Also, as of yesterday, my Game Pass sub has run out. I have been
Oh,
subscribed to Game Pass for about a year. I was playing Avowed. I got about 20 hours into it, and I was like, I got like a week or so until my Game Pass sub runs out, and I was kind of like, I can't really be bothered to finish it.
not, yeah,
Um,
not good enough to
so
continue.
yeah, it's weird. It's we'll talk about
Oh,
Avowed later, but
sorry.
it's like an Obsidian
Yeah,
game where the main draw is the gameplay, the combat, and then the rest of the game's kind of like, which is like the complete
yeah,
opposite of most Obsidian
absolutely wild.
games.
Yeah, they've changed for sure.
But
It's not the same
going into games
developer,
I've been
but
playing, I did play, um, but I recommend YouTube Music. Even if you don't have premium, give it a try and see
yeah,
if
yeah,
you like it.
yeah.
Um,
Because you said, yeah, you told me like a couple of weeks ago about this, and it's like, obviously I don't have YouTube Premium, and it's still like a valid option. I think. Wait, I guess it puts ads in between. Like, how does the ads experience work for the
well,
free stuff? I don't know.
I'm kind of sus that it might work like, given the fact that
like like Spotify.
Spotify has it set up that if you stream the web version, you can just use AdBlock to block the ads it tries to play. Given the
Yeah,
fact that was already blocking YouTube ads with my ad blocker before, I feel like I haven't tested this because I have YouTube Premium right now, but I feel
yeah,
like you could potentially just ad block the ads in the web version because there's a web version app
yeah,
that you can get.
yeah,
Because you'll see in like the top right corner of your web browser, it'll say install as app, and it will install as an app you can just launch on your desktop, but it will just be specifically still inside like a web Docker container. Um,
yeah.
so you'll still be able to use plugins like uBlock. Also, uBlock popped up the other day and was like, we've disabled this add-on. It's not supported. So like was it Web 3 or Manifest
Oh,
3 or something that's
yeah,
going through
Manifest
now.
3. So yeah,
But I could
well, I'm on Firefox, so
I've manually re-enabled it even against Chrome's wishes. So I've managed
yeah.
to get that back on
Thank
because
God.
having ads again was going back onto the internet with ads. It was just like,
Yeah,
what sweet hell is this? Like, what is
yeah,
going
it's
on?
awful.
Um,
Even Google's homepage is awful without AdBlock, I would argue.
mm,
Like, it's
like
awful.
every time I go on my phone and I have to like click on something on Safari, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
bro, the ads are unreal. On
yeah.
every website you go on.
And it makes
Um,
it slow to load.
but yeah, I want to talk. I
Like
want to talk.
we have fast internet, but like because of the ads, like it makes the internet slow. It's so stupid.
We need to do a tangerine on Game Pass because I have a
Yes.
list of stuff I really love about Game Pass and a list of stuff that I'm not a big fan of Game Pass, and kind of weigh up the
Okay.
options of who Game Pass is for. As someone who's used it for a year,
It,
um,
yeah. What did they take into account? Like I guess the price has increased since you like
the
paid
price
for it,
is
right?
increased. Yeah, they're cutting back on prepaid cards, which is how I was doing it a lot because
Oh,
it came out a lot cheaper to buy prepaid cards.
yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
So yeah, it's getting more expensive. And honestly, I don't know what I'll talk about this in the video, but I don't know what play it on Game Pass day one doesn't mean day one anymore. It's like
Oh, does it not?
I had to play Avowed a week later. I had to play Indiana Jones later. I had to play like every game that advertising is coming day one to Game Pass isn't coming day one to Game Pass because they're like, well, no, if you give us like 70, 80 quid on Steam, you can play it like a couple of days earlier or sometimes like a week earlier.
Oh, sure.
And I'm like, well, this isn't day one on Game Pass, then, is it? This is like just straight up puffery, I believe is the legal term.
Yeah.
It's not a lie. It's puffery.
No. And it doesn't help that it's like the play it early, we pay money is kind of stupid to begin with. But yeah, it doesn't makes it even worse combined with the
so I was like. I was like, Game Pass is ending. Don't care to finish Avowed. There was 2 games I had installed, which was one of them was I was planning on playing Tunic once I'd finished up some of my other games I've been playing, which I'll talk about in a minute. So I loaded up Tunic for like 15 minutes, and I had to put it down, and I was like, okay, this is really something interesting. I don't want to keep playing this when my Game Pass is ending like tomorrow or the day after, right?
Oh, right.
Because I don't want to rush through this and try and finish it before my Game Pass sub ends. I want more time.
Yeah.
Complete opposite thing. I loaded up Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, and I played it for about 15 minutes. I said, I have to put this down. I'm really struggling to fight the camera trying to play this game. It is so fucking frustrating trying to fight the camera in this game. I tried it with a controller immediately, and I was like, it has that thing where you turn the camera and the camera just like keeps juttering back to the center constantly. So you're constantly trying
that's really annoying.
to pull it away.
Turn off.
I don't think so. Like I tried because I was like, okay, I can just use my mouse because then I can use my mouse as the camera. It'll be fine. And even using the mouse and keyboard, I was constantly getting pulled away from it, and I had to spend
that's bad.
I had to spend like 5 to 10 minutes just rebinding. Can we talk about like Japanese devs and default PC mouse and keyboard controls are just so fucking awful. It's like,
it's backwards.
To execute this enemy, you need to press the P button on your keyboard. I was like, who the fuck is pressing the P button when they're playing with mouse and keyboard? That's on the other side of the fucking keyboard.
Well, maybe they're using the cursor keys.
It had like arrow key controls for camera control for like people who I assume are like controlling the camera with the arrow keys. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
Maybe it's like, you haven't got a controller, so this is like the peasant controller version.
Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I'll talk about that Tunic and Ninja Gaiden Black 2, and probably Avowed in one like last Game Pass video when we do a Tangerine on that. But my initial thoughts from playing it was like, oh, this is kind of janky. But yeah, my plan was to play them after I finished up some of my other games. I'm still playing Valheim with my friends on a multiplayer server. I just killed the Plains boss, so we've done the Plains, and we're now exploring the terrors of the Mistlands. So I found a Mistland, and you like craft a wisp lantern, and then you can put that on, and you're able to like, because you can see like nothing in the Mistlands initially. It's completely covered in mist, but once you get this lantern, it allows you to see like an area around you, but never more than like 5 to 10 meters in front of you. So it makes like you just hear these horrific sounds in the mist, and you're just like, oh god. I feel like I'm playing Silent Hill when I'm playing the Mistlands, like
with the sounds of the bugs.
Yeah, it is like absolutely terrifying.
I think it's really cool though. I feel like they kind of look cool, they sound cool, and like then combining with the fog, I think works really well. At least from what I was watching.
Like we're going to the Mistlands, we're getting all the stuff we need to progress to get to the next biome and the next boss and stuff, and it's just like, you need to bring iron over here, you need to bring this over here, and it's like, oh god, this is on the other side of the map, and we need to bring like iron and black iron and stuff, and you can't teleport ores. And I think me and my friends have got to a point where we're like, look, we kind of don't want to play the game until we change the quality of life mod we have installed to make it so we can teleport with ores. Because another friend is playing single player, and he has like teleport with ores, he has like just build wherever the fuck you want sort of thing. And I wouldn't go as far as you can just build whatever you want without resources. I think that's kind of too far. But like,
Yeah, that's cheating. That's definitely cheating.
Early game, like not being able to help out with the ores is fine, but once you start to get to these later game stages, it just gets so fucking tedious having to like boat everything across the map from your base. It's so it's just tedious. It's just fucking like we have the resources, we want to build stuff, but we can't portal around.
I was kind of thinking, and the game's still early access, so they can maybe add this free of charge. My idea, maybe add a second portal that lets you do it. That's more expensive to build.
It could be in the later game that we haven't experienced yet, but by that point it'll be too late.
Well, it needs to come earlier.
I think.
Yeah, it needs to come earlier.
Mistlands is like one of the newest ones in terms of Valheim.
Yeah. Well, when we're looking at it, it's like a couple of year old.
Let's have a look.
If that.
There's Erkthyr, the Elder, Bone Mass, Modir, Yugluth is.
But my feeling is like once you get to the plane, there should be like some sort of option you have to unlock to like get like a ore.
And then there's the
portal.
Queen. Okay, so the Mistlands is currently the final boss in Valheim. Because I know they're doing like in their blog post they said they're doing I think it's called the Deep
Ash
Frost biome. Oh, there's Ashland stuff. I haven't been to an Ashland.
Yeah, does that not have a boss in it yet though? Is that like where we're at with
I'm not sure. But there is like another biome they're working on, which is like a super cold biome, like covered in ice.
Okay. So you could like wrap up warm.
Yeah.
Get the fires.
Deep North Journey. Which is not a mountain biome. That's different. But I guess there'll be some sort of heat mechanic like there was with that. I honestly still think I haven't fully explored the Mistlands yet because of putting on hold for a bit. Like I have run around it, but I still think the mountains are my favorite biome in Valheim so far. They're just so fun, yeah. Like the mobs are good, the vibes are good. Like just going around the mountains are fun. I quite like the mountain biome. And I've also been playing I'm still playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I have because I started playing Prince of Persia: Lost Crown to play it for Games of the Year right at the end of the year. I started playing it, and I think I'm about. I don't know how long it is, but I feel like I'm probably at least halfway, something like that. I feel like I'm getting through it. I'm lighting the stars with the arrow things, and I've done 3 out of 4 of them, whatever that means to people who've played the game. I have honestly with story stuff, it's like the story of Prince of Persia is somebody kidnaps the Prince of Persia, and you're his bodyguard / warrior, and you have to go and rescue him, and then stuff happens and whatever. It's sort of like it's the opposite of Avowed. No, this has the same properties of Avowed. I don't care about the story, but the combat is really okay. I would say Prince of Persia combat kind of shits all over Avowed, but it is a different genre. I think game. Prince of Persia combat is really fucking good. If you're somebody who likes combat, like Blasphemous is another great Metroidvania with amazing combat. Or I've heard Hollow Knight is really good, but I've never played it. And then I've also been playing. Speaking of Avowed, I've been playing Avowed. I've played for about 20 hours.
That's quite a bit of time. Isn't it like a 40-hour game?
I don't know how long it is, to be honest with you. I'm like in the second zone when I stopped playing, and I think there's 4 zones, so maybe I'm like halfway through it. I will say the game is pretty fun. Like when you're just running around fighting stuff, like the moment-to-moment gameplay, the core gameplay loop is pretty fun. It's just like I think the easiest way I could describe it is I kind of feel like I'm at a theme park.
Yeah, I saw someone describe like the NPCs kind of, most of the NPCs kind of like lore dump at you. It's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is because I haven't played Pillars of Eternity, but it feels like people already exist in this world and they know all this lore, and I'm just like, I have no idea what's going. I'm come from like an Agarian empire or something, and you basically play the envoy of the British Empire in this game. You come and
which I think is a really cool concept.
Yeah, it's just like it's very heavy-handed with its like it's the same thing with the Outer Worlds. Where the Outer Worlds is like capitalism bad. This one's like
Well, that's the
colonization bad. It's like very
I think that's the other. Well, you
heavy-handed.
could argue Fallout is nuclear waste or nuclear destination bad. I think there's more, more nuance than just the theme.
Oh, I feel like
But
if you
yeah,
play
I've
Fallout,
seen.
you'd be pro, nuclear Fallout.
Oh, you pro, sure,
Yeah.
sure. But going back to saying like, oh, you haven't played like Players of Eternity. Like, surely you shouldn't have to. Like you should anything that has like multiple or like interconnected lore. Like any game you choose or any media you choose should be a good enough starting point to get
Well, I
started.
started like reading all of the notes that were all over the place. And I was like, okay, I kept reading them and reading about all these wars and stuff that happened. But eventually I just got to a point where I was like, I gotta just, there's like 500 notes and I'm not finding any of them particularly interesting. And it feels like
it's not compelled and it's not like interesting and it doesn't interconnect with people you're interacting with.
Yeah. I'll go more into this in the Tangerine because otherwise we'll be here for 5
okay.
years. But I read a review on the game's like the gameplay's pretty fun. I was playing like a ranger stealth bow gun build, and then I was just like, wait a minute, what if I just started scaling off movement speed? One of the Steam reviews I read, which I really agree with, was it's a junk food RPG, which I very much agree with. It's like,
or like an action first, RPG second sort of thing.
I was it. You know when you eat junk food and you're like, this is really tasty, but you kind of feel bad afterwards, and you're not really getting anything, like no sustenance out of it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's sort of what Avowed feels like. Where it's like, yeah, this is pretty fun, just going around killing stuff, but it's like there's nothing else really there to it.
Yeah.
I
feel like Players of Eternity, like lore seems really interesting. Just like you need to actually have a compelling story to like weave through it to like kind of expose that. You can't just have lore notes in there.
Again, like I like games where you have like small story moments inside. Like I love the environmental storytelling of like Arcane's games, like Dishonored, Prey. I love the Fallout terminals. I think that's a fantastic.
But you're being compelled to those to then read it. Like you're already invested in the world, and like you're reading like smaller snippets in between. I think that's like a big difference. I think if you're only relying on like lore dumps, I don't think it works.
I have a lot to say about the story of Avowed, but I won't go into here. But like, it's not very positive of what I've experienced so far. There's a new season of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, which I'll go over quickly. But the interesting thing, Tony, is they've added StarCraft characters to Hearthstone Battlegrounds. So you get like that you get like a hero like Kerrigan, and you like have a spawning pool where you summon like a Zerg minion, and you can like change it every time.
Cool.
Then your hero powers you like upgrade your spawning pool into an evolution chamber and an ultralisk cavern. I don't know if that you do that in the StarCraft.
No,
RTS.
Not quite. But
okay,
they're different buildings that allow you to make them from your From the nest,
you can get like Jim Raynor gets like a battle cruiser ship. I think you would like this. The art of this current Hearthstone expansion stuff, because it's a lot of like it's a lot of like spaceship stuff.
Yeah.
Which I was talking to you recently about Starcade, because you were thinking about. I was like, Starcade on Steam is really good. If you want to play Starcade again,
yeah.
Steam game.
I downloaded the free bit of it. I haven't done anything with it, but yeah, 100%. Like I was even looking into like getting like the physical version, but I know like 2 people I know have it, so it's like a bit redundant.
And then there's also Artanis, so there's like humans, Zerg, and Protoss. So you get like special Protoss minions on this hero.
I'm a weird point. I don't know much about Artanis. Like you kind of or they kind of like in the story like after I stopped playing.
Is he the guy who throws triangles and swaps with people? I'm going to see if he's in Heroes of the Storm.
I don't know. Possibly.
I think I may have played him before if he throws triangles at people.
Because the thing is, like, to me, Zeratul is like the main Protoss guy. Obviously, he's a dark, like
Zeratul is the assassin guy, right? He has poison.
Yeah, he's a Dark Templar, and he's not like one of the light people. But I guess they weren't working together, and now they are in StarCraft 2. But I don't know anything about this guy.
I don't think he's the triangle guy, but I feel like I've played this guy before.
Did
Oh wait, no, he is a
is
triangle. It's
Zeratul
his E. Yeah, I've played this guy before.
E?
E.
So what? So
You
what's this
you
trying to
throw
teleport
like
people?
you can throw it, and then I think you can like swap with people. Is how it works.
Okay.
He's looking at his swap positions with an enemy hero. Yeah. You throw like triangles at people, then you swap them. That's all I know about Artanis. If you ask me to
Right.
name a StarCraft character, I would say Jim Raynor.
Yeah.
He's probably one of them, or like
Yeah.
Tychus.
Yeah.
It's about damn time.
Douglas Finley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kerrigan as
I mean,
well.
like Kerrigan or
they're the
Nova.
big three.
There's another one, right?
Yeah, the Nova. God.
Nova before, stuff happens.
Now that's a character from Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just feel like something like I just read Zeratul. I don't know what happened to him. I guess he's dead.
He died doing what he loved.
I assume so, because like he kind of discovered the Zelnaga plot. So
I think like in the lore, HOTS is like the Valhalla of Blizzard games, where everyone just comes and fights each other
that makes
in the
sense.
Nexus. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, with this season, they've been doing anomalies, which I don't think are as annoying as before. When anomalies first came out, they were really kind of all over the place because it was just random rules every game, and it was kind of just
right.
But I think
I guess it's completely random. You can't play around it. It needs like just enough random that you can still be consistent.
But I think it's cool that some of the new anomalies are like really fun to play. Like there's one where you get 2 hero powers, or yeah, everyone gets like piggy banks, so you can get like refresh your gold and stuff like that. There's a lot of like new interesting ones, I would say, or like the tavern always has 7 cards is really interesting. Some of them are like small changes, but they kind of like completely change up the game, which I think is probably the best way to go for anomalies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been pretty fun. Tony, Marvel Rivals Season 1.5, the second half, they finally released him. It's clobbering time. They've released the Human Torch and the Thing into Marvel Rivals with this season. And I gotta say, what you gonna say?
I've not seen very much of the Human Torch. I've seen a lot of clobbering time.
Yeah, I went into this and I was like, oh, there's a new DPS. I'm gonna play a ton of new DPS, and I was like, I kind of love playing the Thing. He is like, he is a 1-star tank, and I'm like, yeah, that is about right. Literally, you are a short-range tank, and you can run in and punch people, and it's great. It's clubbing. You know, the goons from Fallen Aces. They're like, hey, yo, what's going on here? He has that like that New York Josie accent.
Yeah.
And he literally, every time I play him, I'm like, hey, yo, I'm clobbering here. What's going on? But I don't think he's simple, but he's not poorly designed. Like, he's like short-range dive that's also anti-dive. So, like, for example, like if you have like a Spider-Man coming towards you, so when you charge in and you smash down, you create a zone around you, and that zone around you disables movement abilities. And he's also immune to non-hard CC himself. So he's very good at like anti-dive while also diving in. But it's like the thing, and then his ult is like this big, like in front of him, he like knocks up everyone, and it's like a 3-second stun. It lasts for a very long time if you get hit by it. Very good for combo and other abilities. Yeah. The Human Torch is really cool. I think one of my favorite things to do, like, because initially you can put down like these runes, and you can like create a fire trail between them, so you can like block off areas. One of my favorite things to do is you can place them down almost like mines. So I would just fly into the back line, find their healer, and then I would just place like 3 or 4 like these fire traps behind them. Wait until they start walking backwards, dive into them, which explodes all of the mines, and then it would just like one-shot the healers before they could like try and out-heal it, because it's so much damage coming at you at once, you would just get completely bursted out, sort of thing. That was something I was enjoying doing on the Human Torch. I think the Invisible Woman might be my favorite healer that I've played as well. Like I've been playing For like
Really?
quests, it's like you need to heal 500 life, and I'm really enjoying like the gameplay of the Invisible Woman. She's much more like shield based and like zone control. You put down like AoE abilities, and you can pull or push people. And my friend was like, well, "Surely you would always want to push people away, but not always. There's actually a lot of great opportunities to pull people. Like you can pull them into damage fields. You can like pull them over gaps and like use that to kill them and stuff. And she also cannot heal herself, but the only way she can heal is by going invisible. So you have to like
Oh, right.
you'll go invisible if you are out of combat for like 6 seconds or something, but you can also she has a double jump that will make her invisible that goes on like a 6 second cooldown. So it's very much so, okay, I'm going to put my heals in, I'm going to shield people, I'm in trouble. Let me jump out, go invisible, heal up, or potentially if you have another healer, you can get healed up by your second healer. Then, yeah, and then you have your invisible zone, which is really cool as well, where everyone's invisible inside of it. They get healed, reduced damage, shielded, and enemies are slowed. It's I think she's really strong. She's like a 4-star healer, and I think she's actually really interesting to play.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think if they keep releasing Marvel Rivals characters, I'm going to keep playing the game because it's really fun. I love hero shooter stuff, like just dropping in and out of the game.
Yeah.
You also saw I got the
Yeah.
legendary Psylocke skin. I've been
Oh,
grinding
yeah.
away at the Fortnite Battle Pass. I mean Marvel Rivals Battle
Well
Pass,
worth it.
and I got the OG Psylocke skin from free currency I got in the
Yeah.
game. But yeah, I've also, because it's been so long, I've been playing a lot of stuff. So we're going to do a Tangerine on Steam Next Fest. I've been playing Steam Next Fest demos. I won't go too in depth in here because I've got a bunch of footage and I want to talk about all of the demos I played. But I will say, by far, my favorite demo so far is Demon Tides, which is the brand new game from the creators of Demon Turf, which was a game that I thought had good ideas, but ultimately didn't execute on them well. Like it was a weird mix between you had like a 2D sprite on a 3D background. There was weird like wall jumping rules. The combat was this weird physics system that literally slowed down the game when you did it. You would like summon this giant fist and your FPS would just completely drop. And I was like, okay. And then I heard they were doing a like full 3D platform, and I said, you know what? I'll give it a go in the Steam Next Fest, and it's really fucking good. Tony, this is almost like an homage to Bowser's Fury. It's like a completely like
Oh, right.
open area, like you travel between these big open islands and you just platform around them collecting things. And you
That's
just
cool.
use your movement abilities, and yeah, the game controls really well. Really good platforming. It's schmovement. It's a schmovement game, and it's really
Yeah.
fucking fun. I sat down, I was playing it for like an hour, and I said, I either have to stop playing right now, if I plan on getting the full game, or I'm going to 100% complete this demo. And I sat down and I played it for another hour, and I 100% completed the demo because I was like, this is so much fun. I don't want to stop playing this. So
Okay, that's
I'm
cool.
very excited for this to come out. I think I'm going to pick it up when it
It's
comes out.
improved a lot from the previous
Yeah,
one then.
it's really good. I'm so glad
Wait,
that
what did you
they.
say? Like it was hard to like. I can't remember. Like control like a double jump or control like a like ball jump
Yeah,
or
you
something
there was
on
weird
the
rules
previous
of
one.
you can't like double jump off a wall jump or something like that, and it just
Right.
made platform really clunky. But the thing is, the animations was some of the worst part because you existed in
You couldn't
3D
tell where you
space,
were.
but you were a 2D
Yeah.
sprite, and
Yeah.
the aesthetic was cool, I guess. But ultimately, I think like with the 3D sprite animations, it looks a lot better. There is like so you can get like these power ups in the game, which let you. They're called ability talismans, which let you like change how you like. You can have like paragliders, or you can have like you gain extra jump in bat form or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And there's one that lets you become like a retro 2D sprite if you want to, sort of thing, as one of the unlockables. So they know that that might be something people want. But I
Yeah.
love the direction they've gone with this. I think it's fantastic.
That's good to see.
But I've completely finished watching Michiko to Hatchkin, which was one of the last things that Watanabe worked on that I needed to watch, I think.
Right.
I do want to talk about this some more because I have a lot to say about this. I'm gonna with this section, Tony, because I always end up talking about like too much about everything. And there's usually something I really want to talk about, and there's potentially something you want to talk about because I let you pick one.
Yeah.
So I'll say like I will pick one, and then you pick one, and then I'll talk about both of them from the list once I've gone through it all.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a show about believing in people you can't believe in. Also, been listening to the soundtrack on YouTube Music. It's really fucking good. It's made by they've Cassin and Soil and Pimp, who do like these jazz sessions that are really fucking cool. And then I've completely finished that. Interesting show. I've watched season 2 of Mashal, which is the show about the guy who can't do magic in like knockoff Harry Potter world. So he basically just gets super jacked and solves his problems by punching them, which I find hilarious. Right. I think it's a very funny show. I finished season 2 of that. Also season 2 OP of Mashal is Creepy Nuts, who do the OP for Dandadan, which is really good as well. Okay. I really like the OP for season 2 of this. I have just caught up with Invincible season 3, which is coming out weekly now. Have you ever seen Invincible, the TV show? It's very good. I recommend it.
Okay.
It is. Did you even know the premise of Invincible?
No. I don't know.
Okay,
I think I've heard of it. I've never seen.
I think it has like very good the animation and the writing are very good on this show.
Okay.
And it has like Stephen Yen plays the Invincible. Omni-Man's played by J.K. Simmons. Mark Hamill is like the guy who designs the suits. Like it has like a crazy talented cast in terms of like the voice actors and stuff. It just adds up. Like it's very high production and it's very good writing. So it just adds up to being like a really interesting show. I won't spoil what happens, but I would say it's kind of closer to The Boys in terms of like its toning than a Marvel movie.
Okay.
It's about superheroes, but it's like it's tonally it's more like The Boys than it is like The Avengers sort of thing. Like it's a very interesting show.
Morally grey.
Yeah, sometimes. I've been watching more My Hero Academia. It is so easy to watch. I'm on season 4. I was literally watching it the other day, and Netflix does this thing where it doesn't show you the episode number of the season you're on. It shows you the number of you've watched overall. And I was watching it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a good and easy to watch show I've put on. And I looked up the episode number. It's like episode 80. And I was like, oh shit, I've watched a lot of this at this point. It's just so easy to watch stuff on Netflix. Like, you can skip the intro. You can just play the next one. But yeah, I'm still really liking My Hero Academia. It's not like cinema. It's not like, oh yeah, you have to watch this, is amazing. It's just like it's very like light-hearted, easy watching, like shonen stuff.
Yeah. I think a lot of people like it, right?
Yeah, it's quite good. And finally, Tony, there's this really anticipated show that came out last year that everybody loved. It was about an elf girl. And people were going crazy over this show. And I've watched it, and I have watched Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf. Just kidding. I have actually watched the first episode of this, which is a show that came out, which is currently airing. But, Tony, I've started to watch Free Run, which, I don't know if you know this, is ranked the #1 show on my anime list right now.
Yeah.
People fucking love this show. Literally, I think a woman in Japan stopped a knife attack and they asked her why she did it, like what was going through. She said, I did it because that's what Himmel the hero would do, who is a character from Free Run, which I just find kind of crazy, like the amount of reach this show has got. But I've watched like literally the first 4 episodes like yesterday, and this show is really interesting. It's very cozy. The animation almost has like this painterly quality to it. It's like beautiful, like landscapes, like romanticized drawings. Some people have said it's almost like anime Lord of the Rings, or like like the Shire and stuff like that. Like it
Hmm.
feels very much like that sort of style. It is very like slow paced as well because Free Run is literally thousands of years old, and that's kind of what the show is about. Where she doesn't
Right.
experience time and emotions like humans do because she's an elf,
Yeah.
and it's called Beyond Journey's End because the first episode of the show starts with the defeating of a great monster and her party, who she's been traveling with for 10 years. And they've just defeated this big Shadow King monster. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go off on my way now. I mean, it's been 10 years for me, which is just basically nothing for me. And she goes off
Yeah.
and then she comes back. And this is in the first like couple of episodes. And
Yeah.
the characters that you will meet immediately, but one of the characters dies and she starts crying and she's like, I wish I'd known him better. And
Right.
as she's gone away, he's become Himmel the hero, and she starts to learn about him through his interactions with other people. So it's like it's a
Right.
character you never really interact with, but he is so like omnipresent through the show, and she's sort of like retracing her steps because she's almost like emotionless or numb to the passing of time because she's so
Yeah.
old and she's just like she literally is like, what's the point of training an apprentice? Because she's a maid. She's like, they're every piece of advice or training I give to them, they're just gonna die, and I will outlive them. What is the point of like attaching to anyone, sort of thing? And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's sort of like a show about like, even if it doesn't matter to you, you can kind of live through other people, sort of thing. I mean, I'm only two
Yeah. Yeah.
episodes in, but like,
Like almost like reinventing yourself, or like or re-seeing like a different aspect through another person's eyes or a person's perspective.
but it's a very interesting show. I think I would recommend it
Yeah,
based on the
it sounds
couple of
cool.
episodes.
Wait,
And
how? So is it just? So it came out last year. So it's just one season at the moment. Then.
yeah, they confirmed a season 2, and I think it's like, it says here
Okay.
28 episodes.
Oh, okay. So it's got a lot of episodes in the first.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's quite a few episodes,
That's,
and it follows like a narrative that moves along, but sometimes the episodes feel more contained. But it's like they're
yeah.
slightly episodic, but it's still like very much pushing forward a narrative, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I understand
We've
who
got like a
Himmel the
good balance
hero
then.
is now, and I understand why the woman was like, it's what Himmel the hero would do. Because a lot of the characters are already like, why did you help this child out? And it's like, it's what Himmel the hero would have done. So I feel
Right.
like that's a core message of Freerun as we go further into the series. But I'll talk about Freerun again once I've finished watching it. But it's been really good
Yeah,
so
it sounds
far.
good though. It
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah, the sounds solid anyway.
It's just interesting because I was watching the first episode and I was like, this is episode 1. Why are we like starting at the end? Have I accidentally gone to the last
Right.
episode? Like, I was a bit confused. But it's like, you learn about the characters through the world that they exist in. Let me talk about Machiko and Hatchkin because I want to talk about this show. Because I think this show is interesting, but I don't know if it's like the best show. So I started watching this show, and it's very much about so I think Watanabe is listed as music producer on this show. It has a different director because he's very much just like the staff. He's like, it's got Watanabe in it, but he's more like a producer, and he's listed as the music producer specifically in the credits. But it's directed by, where's the director? Because I know I can't remember her name. Yamato Sayo. It's a female director. The show is about this character, Hatchkin, who's basically getting abused at her not step, but adopted parents' house. They're just treating her like
Right.
shit. Suddenly one day, Machiko
Yep.
comes along and she's like, I'm going to take you away and I'm going to take you to your father. I'm not related to you, but I am like related to your father. Like we're in love sort of thing. We're going to go find him. Everyone thinks he's dead, but I know he's alive. And they sort of go on this road trip across Brazil. So immediately, very different from a lot of the other, like it is very much like Latin, South American, like Brazilian themed. Like it is very much, and it shows like those aspects of the scrappiness of like, you know, South American Brazil culture. It's like you have to do stuff to survive, but it also shows like the beauty of like the scenery of the country and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I would, and of course, you know, there's no Yoko Kono on this, but like the actual music by Kassin and Soil and Pimp, it is this like there's upbeat, there's like samba, there's like jazz, there's like it's like this crazy soundtrack. It's like it's really interesting. And I think towards the middle of Machiko and Hatchkin, I was like, I'm kind of not sure about this show because it kind of like drags and gets like a not that interesting in the middle. But I think with Machiko and Hatchkin, I sort of started to love it more like towards the end when I realized what was going on. Machiko and Hatchkin is a show that spends not a lot. One of the main characters in the show is Hatchkin's father, and he's like I don't think he has more than like a couple of lines of dialogue in the show. Like it's about him, but it's almost like Machiko and Hatchkin is more about the people that exist in the world. And when you learn about the people that exist in this world, you immediately understand what is happening in the show. And you're like, oh, okay, I understand where this is going. It's like, it's a show about trust. It's a show about trusting in people or like believing in people you cannot trust in, but you have to because you have no other choice. There's a lot of like, you know, morally gray people. Like Michiko is literally an escaped convict who is just trying to get back to her lover Hiroshi. And she's almost using Hatchkin like a vehicle to be like, I want to get back to him. If I bring his daughter to him, then he'll have to, you know, accept me again sort of thing. And Hatchkin's like, well, I just want to get away from my abusive family. I will go with anyone at this point. And it's kind of, they're kind of at odds with each other and they're always fighting, but they sort of like bond over this shared goal sort of thing to get back to Hiroshi. She wants to meet her dad and see what he's like. There's some like great little episodic ones, but some of the stuff I didn't like was there'll be stuff that happens inside an episode and be like, oh, here's like a cliffhanger. And then the next episode, it's like, and now we're somewhere else, and we're just completely ignoring this. So, like, in another show with Watanabe in it, this can work really well. Like, one of my favorite animes of all time is Space Dandy. And Space Dandy is fucking hilarious because you can end an episode with Dandy turning everyone in the entire world into zombies and dying. And then the next episode, he's on the spaceship, and they just completely ignore it. And it's fucking hilarious. Like... That show is like really wacky, like fourth wall breaking, like completely out there. But this show is really grounded, and I feel like if you just do cliffhangers and then you kind of just ignore them, it gets you. It's episodic, but it's like Voyager. This show is Voyager. We're doing like episodic adventures, but we're also still pushing the story forward because we're trying to get out of the space that we've been teleported into. What is it called? It's not. Is it the Gamma Quadrant or the Delta? Which one's Deep Space Nine? Is Deep Space Nine the?
These were the Gamma Quadrant. Voyager,
okay, it's the Delta. Okay. But yeah.
The Romulans are in the Beta Quadrant, or half and half in the Beta Quadrant.
But towards the end of the show, I was like, I don't need to hear Hiroshi say a goddamn word. The show and the people I've seen along the way, I already know who Hiroshi is. I don't need the show to tell me. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. I actually quite like this. Like, towards the end, I was like, this show is doing something really interesting that you don't see a lot of shows doing. But yeah. Machiko and Hatchkin. It's sort of like...
That sounds interesting, yeah.
Beginning, it's hard to get into. In the middle, it sort of gets a bit dull and a bit boring. But I think, like, if you go into it with, like, an open heart, like you can get like a good sense of like a place you've probably never like I don't know that much about Brazil personally. I have no idea if this is a good representation of Brazil, but
No.
I mean some of the places look gorgeous and I love the music. So but I've heard people say like, oh yeah, this, because some of the characters would be like they want to kill each other 1 second and then they're like, okay, very much like, okay, now we love each other. And I was like, sort of all over the place. And I've heard like people online saying, oh, this is a good representation of South American culture, and it's just something I personally don't really know about. But if people online are saying like, oh, this is a good representation of it, then yeah, I guess it's interesting at least. That's what I like about stuff. It's like even if you don't think it's really good, if you can like at least it's interesting or you learn something about it, right? And the music is sick. Listen to the OST. It is very interesting. Is there anything you want to talk about before we go on with the podcast?
No. I think we covered what I wanted anyway, so no, it's fine.
Okay. Let's move on to trailers. We have Monster Train 2 has been announced, and I believe it had a demo in the Next Fest as well, which I didn't play, and I don't plan on playing. So I haven't played Monster Train 1, and I was like, I think I might just play Monster Train 1 at some point, rather than just jumping straight into the second one. So no idea if they've improved anything, but yeah, it's cool to see that there's a second one. I know people seem to love this as a turn-based deck builder, sort of similar to Slay the Spire sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see how this one turns out. New card types. Getting this and Slay the Spire 2 in the same year. Roguelike deck builder fans are eating good, yeah. Oh, Slay the Spire 2 is coming out this year, isn't it? That's interesting. I think this game is out or is coming out soon as of time of recording. Let's have a look. When is it coming? It just says coming soon. I thought I saw it in the releases, but maybe I was wrong. Okay. And then we have, Tony, another announcement, Among Us 3D. So essentially what they've done is they've taken Among Us VR and they've made like a PC version of it. So you essentially, it's like a 3D, I guess people weren't playing the VR version, which is understandable. But it allows like more people, because I think this is going to be like VR compatible. So you can have people playing in VR while other people are playing just on the flat screen version sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I believe they
get more players.
I don't know how this is going to work. So, because I own Among Us 2D and I own Among Us VR, is this a separate thing I have to purchase again if I want to play with 2D players, or will I just be able to? Will it just be like an update to Among Us VR? Let's have a look.
Yeah. You would hope it's just a part, like, it's kind of like a Demio where you like PC version and VR version.
It's still Shell Games who did the VR version.
Okay.
Maybe I can go on to the frequently asked questions. Among Us 3D VR is still currently available. Can I crossplay with the original Among Us? No. However, the game will be crossplay with all the VR versions of the game. Okay. So what's happening with Among Us VR? It will be rebranded to join the Among Us 3D family. The rebrand is mostly aesthetic. A new title, a new logo, a new startup screen meant to highlight the connectivity and crossplay feature with Among Us 3D. After the launch of Among Us 3D for Steam. So I'm guessing I'll be able to play only in VR with people playing Among Us 3D. I won't be able to play the flat screen version.
Yeah, it's kind of I think
interesting.
the way Demio does it is much better. Where you just get both versions, the PC and the VR.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think this had like a demo. I saw Forsen of all people playing this on Twitch.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I mean he'll literally play anything. But
I can't remember what he was doing last. I thought he was doing something really stupid last time. What was he doing?
He started playing League of Legends.
That was it.
He's playing League of Legends and he plays like a lot of like indie games sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then we have Ratatan got a new trailer. This is the spiritual successor to, is it Patapon, or what is it called? I've never played the Patapon, but this trailer for this actually looked really sick. Tony, let me get that 1080p enhanced premium bitrate on
Oh
the
my
stream.
god.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get
YouTube
more.
Premium.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was like you had like roguelite elements, but then you're sort of like managing a bunch of minions to the beat, and you're like pulling them back from attacks and then sending them in, and then it looked really interesting. I think this game looks like something I definitely want to try out because I've never played Patapon, but I like rhythm stuff. So definitely have to check that out. Balatro is getting another Friends of Jimbo update, Tony. So we are getting cards from, I shit you not, Critical Role, the D&D voice acting YouTube, Twitch channel, is becoming official Balatro cards. Bug Snacks cards. Civ 7 cards.
What?
Yeah, Civ.
Interesting.
Rust is also getting their own cards.
I know nothing about Rust, okay.
Then we have Assassin's Creed, Slay the Princess, Dead by Daylight, and Fallout. So you can have like Pip-Boy cards.
Interesting.
Which I think is kind of crazy. Yeah, there was a lot of collaboration. I find it crazy that there's still no Shovel Knight crossover. I mean, it's what the people want.
Yeah, I want. Yeah, that's what we need.
I don't know if you saw this at all. There's a Civ 7 is getting a VR mode. I don't know if you. This is Joe's weird VR game of the week.
I've not seen that. No.
It's coming to MetaQuest in the spring, it says.
I've heard lots of issues with Civ 7's UI. How the hell is that going to work in VR?
I think this is just specifically built for the MetaQuest. So I don't know if it's... I think it's like there's a different UI for this version of the game, it seems like.
Oh, sure.
It feels like very much more cut down.
They're not very good with UI. Version. Yeah. That's like low settings.
I mean, it makes sense because like that is one of the cool things about VR is being like toppling over like a big tabletop sort of thing is like a cool experience, and looking down at like a diorama like Demio.
Very much like Demio. Yeah. Because so the art style for Civ 7 is more like a diorama.
Has a VR mode as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think like it's very much like Demio, where it's like you're over like a board, right? That sort of idea.
Announcements. Peggy complaints board amends classification of Balatro and Luckbeard Landlord to Peggy 12. Peggy 12. So they were initially given the Peggy rating of 18 because they had the
understandable
appearance of poker and
you're literally
slot
gambling.
Machines. Yeah. But thanks to a successful appeal submitted by publisher Sold Out Sales and Marketing, the complaints board concluded that although the game explains the various hands of poker, the roguelike deck building game contained mitigating fantastical elements that warranted a Peggy 12 rating.
Yeah, it's got mechanical cheating of gambling, unless you're not gambling.
And they've said that the arguments above as well, the Luckbeard Landlord may look like a slot machine, but it's not actually a slot machine in the same sense. We also have Peggy acknowledging the finding of the complaints board appeals panel in regards to amending the classification of these games. Peggy's system continuously evolves in line with cultural expectations and the guidance of independent experts. So it seems like they're going forward. They want to like say, look, we're not just going to give a game a high rating because it looks like gambling, but we're actually going to look into it and see what's going on there first.
Isn't that their job?
Yeah.
Why weren't they doing that before? I don't understand. Like, we just looked at it. It's like, surely you should like look into it.
Also,
is that what you're being paid
my
for?
question is, do we think this is anything to do with the fact that Balatro just came to Game Pass? Do you think Microsoft were like,
maybe
put pressure on Peggy and were like, hey, why is this game rated an 18? Can't we get
very
this
possible
down? It's coming to Game Pass.
There definitely is like a who do you know sort of thing in like these sort of industries for sure.
But if you haven't already lost all of your time on Steam and your mobile phone, Balatro is now out on Game Pass if you have that. Let's talk about cancellations. Crytek has announced that Crysis 4 has been put on hold as developer has done a massive wave of layoffs. So they've basically determined that completing their work on Crysis 4 would not be profitable, and I think they're just doubling down the Hunt Showdown. They're like PvE, PvP, like battle royale sort of game in CryEngine.
I'm gonna quote Stephanie Sterling here. Why did they always say they were hit by layoffs? The company decided to do the layoffs themselves. They weren't hit by like a storm.
They got hit by it.
Oh, we were hit. We had to do it. It's like, no, you decided to do that.
It sucks. I think the thing is, with Crysis is such a behemoth of games in terms of like, will it run on Crysis?
Yeah.
And like CryEngine, we've seen recently Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is literally running on CryEngine and it's really well optimized. And it's just like, going forward, more Unreal Engine slop. And it's just like, okay. I guess
it's a shame it's come to that. Because it's a shame as well that Epic's not listening to like some of the developers' problems. It's like, well, we don't have this problem. It's like, yeah, but you're doing a different set of games.
More cancellations. Warner Brothers is shutting down Monolith Studios, Player First Games, and Warner Brothers San Diego. If you don't know Monolith Studios, they made Blood, one of the original boomer shooters. No One Lives Forever, an interesting FPS game. Condemned, another interesting first-person game. The Shadow of War, the Shadow of Mordor games. They made a lot of really interesting games where they literally have the pattern of the Nemesis system from Shadow of War, which is a really interesting...
You can that it's a travesty.
But I guess Warner Brothers are just throwing that in the trash so no one can ever use it again.
Oh, yeah.
Player First Games does Multiversus, which was a game that had promise on launch, but kind of sent back into beta, retooled, worse monetization, kind of went back into the not a great status.
Worse progression.
And Warner Brothers San Diego, I don't actually know that much about. I believe Monolith was working on an unannounced, it was announced, but they were working on a Wonder Woman game.
Oh, they were doing that, were they? Okay.
That was their. Yeah, it was first revealed in 2021, and apparently the game was in development hell and had been restarted, and they were like, no, this is not worth carrying on. We're just going to shut down the entire company sort of thing. Because they did that because they had the whole Suicide Squad debacle, right? With who is it? Rocksteady? Did Rocksteady do?
Rocksteady, yeah.
I'm going to look this
up. They apparently didn't want to do it, but they were forced to.
Yeah, Rocksteady, yeah, I am right. But yeah. I wrote this down and I said I can't say this, but I continue to write it down and I'll read it. Warner Brothers continues to be a dumpster fire of a company. I try not to say too negative stuff, but
no,
I don't know what Warner Brothers.
I think it wasted opportunity in this, like, and they make these like overarching decisions, and then like, oh, it didn't work out. It's like, well, yeah, you were told that.
Releases, we've got Rift of the Necrodancer came out. It is the new rhythm game from the Crypt of the Necrodancer guys. Let's see what people are saying about this. This game heavy, good music, fun levels, genuinely one of the most unique rhythm games out there. I love it. That's not just reaction time, but also interpreting what the monster will do next is a really fun challenge. A little bit of Crypt in the Rift. Personally, I barely played Crypt of the Necrodancer. Recently, after hearing about the sequel coming out, I decided to get into and play co-op to see what was going to deal with in the next title. Rift of the Necrodancer is a completely different game compared to its prequel while keeping its personality intact. It's also what you expect for a really good rhythm game. You got great original songs from great composers like Alex Mukala, Family Jewels, but mainly Danny Baranowski, who made the OST for Crypt as well. Oh, that sounds cool. Have to check this one out. How much is it? It's like £16. There's also a demo as well. Maybe I need to play the demo. While Waiting came out, which is one of my favorite games of the previous Steam Next Fest, which was the game about waiting, but made it kind of fun to just mess around and do mini games.
Find all the secret endings or secret level completion.
This game is not about waiting, it's about killing time in the most hilarious ways possible. While waiting is packed with content with over 100 unique situations that have multiple solutions, ways to pass the time. There are a variety of one-off minigames and interactions. In one situation, you must use a dog as an umbrella, or sneak past a teacher in a stealth minigame, or float through the air while dodging seagulls that are trying to eat your hot dog hat. The game's sense of humor kept me smiling, and the variety kept me entertained.
I think my favorite from the next best thing was like you run out of the room and like you're at work meeting, you run out of the room and it then becomes what's it called, like
Temple Run.
Temple Run. I thought this
Subway
is so funny.
Surfer,
yeah.
But it seems to be getting very good reviews. I'll have to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah.
A game about digging a hole. I feel like this is one that I was immediately like, this could be like a power wash simulator ass game. It's like a very simple idea, but if it's done well, it could be good. So let's see what people are saying. I thought it was going to be something that gave me the relaxing feeling of kind of trance feeling, like a power washing game, or that like it feels when a cat is needing you, but instead all the tiny little bits and pieces of land that end up floating in the air stress me out a little bit. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but it's true. Overall, the game is fun. It's a short romp, though, but after you win once, the achievements open up for those looking for more to do. It does leave you wanting more, only because it's fun and interesting. You dream about what you could do if you kept going, and yet it gives enough for the $5 price. Yeah, it seems like it's a few hours long, but it's only like £4, so
yeah,
let's keep in mind. Grapples galore. I looked at this and I said, what the fuck is this? So I put it on the list. Fast-paced online multiplayer arena shooter with physics-based grappling hook that is free to play. I'm just like, what? This game is really fun and cool because there are so many different maps, component, and game modes to play from. The mix of ragdolls, grappling, and guns is just perfect. Definitely suggest you play this. Me personally, it took only one match to get the hang of things, and it was pretty fun. Also, I have to make a suggestion, it would be great for DLCs outside of cosmetics. It seems like people are enjoying it. We'll have to move on. Civilizations 7. Do you know anything about Civ 7, Tony?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about this? Because I need to get a glass of water if you want to talk about Civ 7.
Okay. I can't remember who. So I just randomly recommended a video, and I watched his review and then someone else's review of it. I can't remember their names. They're quite big in like the 4X like grand strategy sort of space. But yeah, they were praising this, like they like the art style a lot. Like the like as you said before, the diorama look of like the maps and things. One thing to note, I don't know if you've heard like how humankind works. But like there's in Civ 7 now. There's 3 eras. There's like ancient, medieval, and Renaissance, or industry, I believe, or something along those lines. You will choose a civilization. Like, it's okay. You choose a leader, and you choose a civilization at the start. When you then go to the next era, you actually then choose a new civilization. Some of the stuff from your previous choices gets ported over. You then become a new civilization, which is what humankind did, but it did it a lot more. And I think the first person I watched said like this is like it's actually done a better balance than humankind. It actually kind of made sense. But yeah, apparently and the other thing that's really cool is like the way that generals now work is like it's like integral to like your army planning. It's like they're just so much more useful, and like you actually just want to always use your generals. And navigable rivers sounds like a dumb improvement, but actually makes makes things massively different. Like being able to like use rivers to navigate and be more than just this slightly changes like how you attack across it. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, apparently there are lots of weird things. Like I don't know if they fixed it now, but you couldn't rename any of your cities. The UI for like seeing what your production queue was awful. Seeing what was in your city was awful. Like, there's a lot of UI problems. And a lot like there's like lots of good things. There's a couple of like this may or may not work. Maybe we need to wait for other expansions. But there's like lots and lots of small things like why was this not in the game from the start? It made no sense. Oh, apparently the map spawn, it's a bit weird. But I think if they can fix, from my perspective, and what the people were saying, like if they could fix a lot of the small problems, it could be like a really, really solid base. But they do need to fix these small problems though. And there's
Oh,
a lot of them.
apparently, I remember seeing recently. Apparently, they have already announced on releasing a DLC for the game.
Yeah.
Which I'm just like, that is it's called the
Well,
Crossworlds of the World.
you say it's crazy. They've
Collection.
been doing that since Civ 5. They've been doing that since Civ 5. That's literally what they've been doing for like over a decade.
Which one is that?
But we knew something was coming. There's always going to be like that. That's their business model, right? Whether the DLC is worth it, I think is actually my biggest. Not my biggest problem is not that they're announcing it early or preparing to do this early. Is that they're too expensive when they come out. It's not worth the price. That's my problem.
You just wait for the Civ 5 with the Brave New World expansion pack.
Yeah. Oh, one quote I will say is like this is like one of the best. On release, one of the best base games, but that's not saying much considering almost all Civ games are kind of when they release, you have to like wait for like the expansion.
One word: boring. This is no longer a sandbox-like experience like previous Civs, rather it adopts a badly curated approach to gameplay. You ask to complete a fixed set of goals for each victory path under heavy constraints on how you play. Instead of an overarching goal, it gives you freedom to play largely at your own pace and pleasure. You feel as if you were a mindless low-level clerk behind a desk rush to complete your KPI instead of a powerful leader determining your people's future.
I think that's a bit extreme. But yeah, they're trying. Yeah, so each era you have like different paths, and it doesn't like and like you kind of you almost have to choose very early on what you're doing. You can't. It's like I think that's one of the areas where like it's very fixable, but they need to fix it.
I did not know how humankind works, but somebody's saying that the age resets are jarring and frustrating. When you progress to the next age, you lose units or they're moved around the map to other cities. When you start a new game in Antiquity, you will actually play 3 games. There seems to be little continuity between the ages. It's also weird to be Ben Franklin, the leader of the Greeks and the French. Worst Civ game structurally speaking? This guy says.
Yeah, so like I said, like you choose a leader from the start. You choose like an ancient Civ. When the new era comes around, you choose a new Civ from that era. Then when the next era comes around, you choose another new Civ from that era. So you're playing 3 Civs with 1 leader, effectively.
But you lose.
I personally wouldn't see it as you're playing France. I would see it as you're taking the culture of France. I don't think explicitly looking at that way is like very productive.
So when you get to a new age, if you have like an army, they just get deleted.
I don't know how that works. I don't.
You lose your units.
How that
it
works.
says.
It's a unit. Interesting.
I have no idea how Civ 7 works. So like, you have more information than me. But if you don't know,
I don't quite know how the like change the era, but I think a lot of changes need to be done there. Like that seems to be the problem. I actually think the idea of having like 3 or because I think they were talking about that there's gonna be either through an update or maybe a DLC there's gonna be like a 4th like modern era that's not in the game at the moment. It's like 4 eras, maybe 5 if you like advanced like sci-fi or something, but 4 to 5 eras eventually. Choosing different Civs or different cultures. I don't want to say Civ. Different Civ cultures. I think I actually like the idea of, but I think it needs to be like more. It needs to be knit together in a seamless way, where it's like it makes sense to kind of do it.
Yeah, another thing I heard was it was another one of those ones where you could buy like a super expensive £90 edition to play it early, and people were saying, this game is broken, it's unfinished.
Guys, do not play games early. Do not give them your money. It's dumb.
Yeah.
You do not need to play the game that early. It's not the hype is not worth it. Please do not.
Jump King Quest came out the 12th of Feb, sorry, and people seem to be quite positive as well. It's sort of like the Souls-likey 3D Jump King one, and it had co-op, right? If I'm not mistaken.
This has co-op, really?
It has multiplayer, yeah.
Okay.
Unfiltered fun, game uses originality, huge leap from the original Jump King Quest to jump-like, Souls-like, precision tactical leaping platformer adventure RPG. That is a mouthful. Yeah.
Yeah.
People seem to be liking it. The Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6 remaster came out. Let's see what people are saying. It breaks my heart to give this a negative review, but sadly, Tomb Raider 4 to 6 remastered is not a finished product. Tomb Raider 5 is most polished out of all 3 game levels. Absolutely gorgeous, plenty of additional objects, enhanced geometry, and effects on the top fabric structures. There is nothing I can say. Nothing bad I can say about this remaster. It got the most love. Tomb Raider 4, it starts wonderful. But when you reach Alexandria, it disappoints. Only basic remastering work was done. Refreshed textures and interactive objects that were already there. None of the additional work is done here. Geometry is still blocky and no detail has been added. When I reach the Lost Library, Tomb Raider 6, this version is barely in an alpha state. Not even basic refresh is done. Some textures and models are still like the original PS2 version. Being untouched, in addition, it lacks effects that were present in the original PC release, like reflections, cube maps, and bump mapping. This package was clearly rushed to be released, and the passionate team behind the remaster projects don't have the time to make this. It seems most people are pretty positive, but it seems like they could have done more to remaster some of the textures and stuff.
Sounds good, but not. I could have done more. That's what
I'm going to be honest with you.
I have no I know what it should look like. So
I'm just not that interested in playing Tomb Raider. I'm going to be honest. I've never played a Tomb Raider game, and I own most of them. But there's nothing about the old Tomb Raider games that makes me go, man, I want to like awkwardly try and climb rocks for like hours. And there's nothing about the new one that goes, I want to mindlessly grind shit in the forest in the new Tomb Raider games. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm just not that interested in Tomb Raider. I don't think.
I mean, I'm interested in it, but I've never done it, so
yeah.
I guess that says a lot.
Avowed, we'll talk about on Tangerine. Came out on the 18th of Feb. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage is the brand new game from Don't Nod, who do the Life is Strange, but it's very much, instead of 80s nostalgia, we now have 90s nostalgia. 1995.
Who's nostalgic about the 90s?
We are, Tony, because that's when we were born. I guess.
Nostalgic about
you
it?
Have you never seen it? Only 90s kids will understand this.
Yeah, and I go, how embarrassing.
The crazy thing is, Tony, we're going to see stuff that's coming up that's going to go, only 2010 kids will understand this. And I'm just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This game gives the feeling of Life is Strange. The story's quite interesting and fluent. It's nice they gave us the characters that are just like Chloe and Max. The only thing I don't like are the facial animations. I would love to see Turkish language support. Game is very nice. 9 out of 10, must play if you like Life is Strange. I did not like Life is Strange, but I saw it was very like 90s music based, and I was wondering if that could help me get into it. I wonder if somebody's like, I hate Life is Strange, but I like this game, and here's the reason why. I feel like there's going to be a lot of reviews of people who like Life is Strange, though.
Maybe you just don't like these types of games?
I like choices matter games. Like, I like interactive fiction. Like, I love the dark and picture anthology games. I absolutely adore those games. I'm not against the genre of games. It's just I did not connect with the character. My problem with Life is Strange is I did not connect with the teenage female character that I was playing with. I found it hard to get into the mindset of somebody like that.
That's fair.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old man. I've just turned 30 now, and I'm just like maybe I'm just old now.
No, the kids are wrong.
Yeah, it's the kids that are wrong. Let's move on. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii's came out. It's Majima going absolutely crazy in Hawaii. And like, it's just, I think I saw an announcement recently that Sega was like Metacritic's #1 publisher 2024. And I was like, yeah, they had like a Dragon 6. They had Persona 3 Reload. They had Shin Megami Tensei 5 re-release. They had Metaphor ReFantazio. They had the Sonic games that came out last. Like Sega is just firing on all cylinders, and it's because like they are just like the way that Gotaku Games is able to just go, let's set a game in Japan and then let's reset the next game in Japan and reuse some of the assets, and then our next game's going to be in Hawaii, and why don't we do like a pirate game that's also in Hawaii, and they can like just very quickly churn out stuff that doesn't feel like it's repetitive in a lot of ways, which I think is really cool. And again, with like the Persona games, they reuse a lot of like the characters and the enemies you fight and stuff, and have similar ideas and stuff like that. But they just always seem really cool. I saw a thing recently, and they were saying like Sega's like, we want to make less new games and want to invest more in like Gotaku and Atlas. And I'm like, me personally, I would just slash the entire budget for Sonic Team and give it to Atlas. That is what I would do.
Yeah.
You are not. I can overstate. You are not paying Atlas enough. Give Atlas way more money.
Yeah.
Like that. That's my opinion.
And Sonic Team does get too much money. They're just snorting most of it. There's no point.
But people seem very happy about this game. Takes a while to get started in classic Yakuza fashion, but amazing when it does. I think this is a real-time like brawler one, and you can also but you also like can command a pirate ship and stuff like that. I've heard it still has the Yakuza charm to it.
I know, but like it's still modern time, right? I know it's like a an old pirate ship, but it's still modern time weirdly.
Yeah, I think so. Yakuza exists on like
I don't quite understand.
Yakuza's universe sort of exists on cartoon rules, I feel like sometimes.
Right.
It's just like, well, of course they're pirates. Of course they have like a big wooden galley ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why not just actually set it in the past? Like just go a completely different time.
I like this review, a real quadruple A pirate game. There it is. Long Winter came out.
Beans, Skull and Bones.
Which essentially was like the Animal Crossing game on PC with guns. It had like AK-47s in it for some reason. Yeah, did you not see this game?
No.
Let's see if I can find it. You could like weirdly have like guns in this, I think. So I can find a clip. You can go fishing. You can build houses. You can go and shoot people in an arena.
What?
Yeah.
No,
it's got mixed reviews recently. Let's have a look at the launch. It's all right if you're thinking about getting it because it looks like Animal Crossing. It isn't really Animal Crossing. It's more like Rust. I don't like Rust. 8 out of 10. Rust stinky. Yeah, there's a weird like survival crafting thing to it.
I love how simple it became. It was like, I'm hearing his fans like, I don't like Rust.
Yeah. It's like I was playing a demo. It was like the first Berserker Kazan, and I was like, I like the concept of Soul games. Like I love Sekiro. I don't like stamina bars. This game has a stamina bar. I don't like stamina bars. Monster Hunter Wilds came out, and I think this has been getting some really crazy. Lots of people playing it. Like right today, 1 million people were playing it on Steam.
But
big performance issues. I asked my friend who really
liked it. Yeah, I haven't really liked it, but he said, and take this as you will, much better than Rise, almost if not better than World, but he also liked Rise, and I don't think Rise people like a lot. So,
okay, I've heard that one of the complaints about the actual game itself is some people have said it's too easy. Is legitimately what I've heard from some comments, but I don't actually know if that's like a common thing that people are.
Yeah, I've not listened to too much. I just asked my friend, like he's still playing it now. So
somebody says there are no cooking cats. They don't reveal this to you, and you go hours and hours go by, and suddenly you realize there are no cooking cats, and you can't request a refund.
What?
Yeah. I have seen some of
They
the
should add the cooking cats
animations
back.
where you start like cooking a meal mid-battle and you see somebody just like putting butter into a frying pan and then they put some meat
Yeah,
in it and they're like frying and then suddenly
yeah.
like a giant monster's claw slams them in the face and they're like, what the fuck are you doing cooking some food in the middle of battle? I think that shit's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, in the previous games, the cats cooking had like really extravagant cooking animations. It was really cool.
But I've seen the Digital Foundry video on this and they said that the PC version is stuttering like a mofo. And
Oh, really?
Tony, you know this game launches and it says you need to turn frame generation on. Like it's like
What?
this game suggests you turn frame
That
generation on as you launch the game, and it will come up
I'm
with
not.
another pop up if you say no to say you should really turn frame generation on.
Surely that's just like you haven't optimized it, or like you haven't like
Yeah,
try turn some settings down. I'm not
I,
saying it's like laziness. Like I know this is all difficult, but like at some point, like you have to change your settings to like make it so it's playable without these like these should be options like if you want like higher fidelity, but like and you're willing to like go for like AI frames.
yeah. Apparently, like turning the camera will cause your game to stutter. Like it is that bad sometimes.
That
Like
is insane. Okay.
And it's also a problem with like low VRAM GPUs as well. On
Yeah.
the
It really does sound like they haven't optimized very well. Yeah, I'm not saying that's
apparently,
lazy. I'm just saying they should be doing stuff.
apparently they have like double DRM on this game as well. It uses de novo
What?
anti-tamper.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember recently they had like the RE engine anti-tamper, anti-cheat, anti-tamper stuff they started
Oh
putting into
yeah.
older games. I think that's
As in this
also
one.
on top of de novo, and people are saying that's potentially causing performance issues.
That is I could I know this is unproven, but I could believe that.
Because I think there's a mod out by I don't know, do you know like Prey Dog? He does the RE framework
Yes.
modding to add
Yeah,
like
that's it. Yeah.
VR
Yeah.
support
Yeah.
for the RE engine games, and he also did like the Universal Unreal Engine mod, I believe, where you can basically mod VR into any Unreal Engine game.
Yeah.
But he specifically, I think he did an update to um, Prey Dog as RE framework, where he specifically was like fixed major frame pacing issues, micro stuttering in Monster Hunter Wilds caused by anti-tamper is in the patch notes.
Oh right.
So
So it's not
potentially you
so
could
is
give
that
this a
that
go.
so that's not de novo's doing that, that's the actual RE engine's anti-temper.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
what's going on here, but you could potentially try RE framework update from Prey Dog and see if this helps with because there is major like frame pacing issues with Monster Hunter Wilds right now. It
Would it
seems.
even with that patch would it let you play quote unquote
Apparently,
multiplayer
from
or
what I
like
read a Reddit
online?
comment, people said that it will allow you to play online, but we'll have to.
Oh, okay.
Your mileage may vary. I don't own
Yeah.
this game. I don't
It's a
know.
bit sus. I know,
Uh,
like, yeah, they've always allowed modding. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't. I never. I assume they just like kicked you and put it into offline mode or something, but I guess not.
Yeah, like a lot of like Halo Master Chief Collection has a thing where you can play without the anti-cheat for mods single
Yeah,
player.
yeah, it's a different mode.
From Software games, so that you play offline mode, which is usually what people do if they want to mod some stuff in.
Yeah, which is fair
GTA
enough. I think that's
5 has an offline mode, I think,
no, does it?
potentially for
Okay.
mods. Although, oh, Tony, we were talking about why did they re-release the Grand Theft Auto 5 as a separate thing? The
Yeah.
enhanced edition has a new anti-cheat in it,
Okay.
which I think is actually a good
I don't have
idea
a problem with
considering how
that.
much cheating
Yeah,
is in GTA Online.
yeah. I
I've
still wish there was ways to do it without like zero level kernel stuff,
Let's have a
but
look at the
I understand it's
GTA
necessary.
enhanced edition on Steam. I was going to do this on the next podcast because there's a lot of stuff we've already covered, but
Oh, we're here now.
I am curious to have a look at this. League Native mainly due to Rockstar deciding that some accounts should arbitrarily not be able to migrate, and if you ask for help from support, they just say they can't do anything. Also, I'm part of those people, perhaps it's a minority, but there's low players are paying customers, a minority that Rockstar doesn't give a shit about. So it seems like they're refusing some people because you had to transfer your save over from the other game. Like I would want to transfer my GTA Online progress over to this game, and I had finished the single player game on my other account as well, so I'd want to transfer this over.
Yeah. I assume you can still play the original. Like, I think the original is still up, right?
Yeah, it's still in your library. Can you buy it? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. It's called Legacy Edition. So, it is not. You cannot purchase it anymore, but it still appears in search.
Well, I guess it's for like. It's all up. There's some information you can get.
Yeah, so they've unlisted this one, but this one is their main storefront now.
Yeah.
I think it was it Battle Eye anti-cheat they put into it.
Okay.
Someone's saying they've broken
I have
support
a question.
for the
Do you
game
need to
on
load
Linux.
it to play single player?
You can specifically launch GTA single player, but I'm not sure if that stops you from launching it.
I just know there's like they almost had everything unified. It was like both had to be like loaded in a weird way at one point. I don't know if that got fixed.
I did see a video comparing the new like shadows and GI and ambient occlusion and stuff, and I think it does look quite good, the enhanced edition. I've heard people saying they're having issues with Rockstar Game Launcher, but I also had a lot of fucking issues with Rockstar Game Launcher in the original GTA 5. So that's maybe.
Did you say it was the worst one?
Oh my god, I hate the Rockstar Game Launcher. I don't know if it's the worst. Like, if I was making a tier list of worst game launchers, Rockstar Game Launcher would definitely be up there with Uplay. I don't know if it's the worst though. It definitely is one of the worst ones.
Uplay kind of works. It just sometimes lags, so it doesn't let you log in.
Man,
I've been playing
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown recently, and I've had a lot of issues with Uplay. It's fucking annoying. Uplay.
Fair enough. Well, I think it was I've booted up Anna. Maybe it's gone worse.
It's definitely Ubisoft Connect is definitely better than Uplay was, and it used to be, right?
Okay.
But the fact that I have to like manually upload my cloud save to Ubisoft Connect and then manually download my save from it every time I want to use my cloud save just use Steam Cloud Saves. I don't want Ubisoft Connect.
Yeah.
We have do you remember we had Nintendo 64 games that were getting recomped, where they weren't fully decompiling the game, they were just getting it to spit out C code, and then they were using that C code to write a native PC port of the game. And we were like, oh, that's crazy. They figured out how to recompile Nintendo 64 games. And then, Tony, we've got to a point where we can recompile Xbox 360 games, which is kind of crazy.
Oh God. That's even more insane.
Like looking at this and the Bloodborne port on PC, like emulation, like decomp, recomp stuff is going like a crazy technological leaps right now. It's getting like so much quicker and quicker. So this is an unofficial PC port of the Xbox 360 version of Sonic Unleashed, created through static recompilation. But this project will allow you to play natively on a PC. I think it's only x86 right now, so Windows or Linux. Apparently it runs very well on Steam Deck. And this will allow you can set the internal resolution to 4K. You can go above 60 FPS as well as you want. They can't guarantee it won't cause any glitches, but you can 120 hertz, 240, whatever, right? In this game, I have actually played a lot of the Sonic the Werehog, Sonic Unleashed, like the running levels, because I don't know if you remember, but there was a Sonic Generations mod that ported the it ported the running levels into Sonic Generations. So like these levels are really cool. I quite like them. But I've never played the Werehog section, like the weird Werehog RPG stuff. section of this game, so I'd be interested to give this game a try. And it can't be all that bad because it gave us the Windmill Isle song, which is one of the greatest.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say Sonic songs, but Windmill Isle is just it's drum and bass jazz. It's such a fucking sick song. But yeah, interested by this, and maybe I will recompile some Sonic Unleashed at some point. I think this is.
I mean,
it's just really cool news.
The Bloodborne stuff, it should be more, but it's still really cool. Like either way, I think, yeah, like it does feel like a new era of emulation for sure.
Well, speaking of emulation going forwards, there's always a small Japanese company, a small $1 billion Japanese company who wants emulation to go back, called Nintendo, and they have started DMCA striking Ryujinx forks on GitHub. So anyone who's forked the original Ryujinx product, they've started going after them. I've heard they've missed some of the best ones, and they've kind of been going after. They've kind of gone after some of the not so great ones yet, but maybe it's just only a matter of time that they've started.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is that
they're kind of cautious and exact.
Ryujinx settled out of court, so there's never a court precedent that you can't use the Ryujinx. You can't fork the open source Ryujinx code, but it's such a legal mess, copyright stuff. I don't want to get into it. But this sucks. I just wish they would just fucking. I mean, everything they're doing just makes me go, okay, the Switch 2 is very much going to be able to run like a Switch 1, right? Which is what I feel like what they're worried about people emulating Switch 2 games.
Maybe that's why they're in hyperdrive.
Full cards on the table. Through emulating Nintendo games, I actually plan on purchasing a Switch 2. But yeah, Nintendo's
That's the thing,
team
I
and
feel like a lot of
team
people
are just very different things.
I feel like people are emulating because they can't play it in the best way. Like if they had allowed mods and like allowed people to easily play older games, like
imagine if they allowed people to play it on a PC. They had they released it on Steam.
Like I'm not
crazy.
I'm not even saying like I don't even think they should like have to like do that with their current games. Just like when it's an old game on an old console, like maybe try and port that over to PC if you want to make sure they're still buying your new console.
I understand Nintendo would never port their games to PC because they sell systems through their exclusive games, but
well, they're older games though. They're not selling. I just feel like they're doing a piss poor job.
No, they're gonna re-release them on the Switch 2.
Oh,
yeah.
I think that's just a massive kick in your face, and that's just asking for emulation because then you've then spited everyone.
Yeah. Let's move on to Valve news. Valve has released the Team Fortress 2 game code. There was a bunch of mods coming out, like TF2 Classic, Open Fortress, which is like a Quake, like arena fighting version of TF2. And they're essentially working off leaked source code from TF2. And they were using like third-party launchers in order to be able to use this leaked code in order to get their mods up and running. Valve was like, look, I think it was like a couple of years ago, they're like, look, we're working with the legal department. We want to get your mods on Steam. Stop making your mods and we'll get back to you. And then they were just like zero contact for a while. I believe TF2 Classic was just like, we're just going to reopen and just keep using our launcher sort of thing against Valve's wishes. But now, it seems like TF2 Classic has an official Steam page. So it seems like they're working with Valve again, and they're going to... I think this is a really big step forward as being able to launch on Steam, because I played TF2 Classic when it was a unofficial... it's always been an unofficial source mod, but it went through their launcher, and it was definitely a lot more friction than just going onto Steam and downloading the mod directly there, right? And it was pretty fun, TF2 Classic, so I want to play some more when this officially comes out. But I think going forward, like, this is what TF2 needs. Valve has shown time and time again that they are unwilling to fully support TF2 as a full game, and they're more interested in, making VR stuff, Half-Life stuff,
Yeah.
Deadlock,
Yeah.
Counter-Strike, that sort of stuff. So
Well, they've always want to do new projects with new technologies, and they never, unless it makes them direct money, they don't want to support it, right?
I mean, TF2 still makes them money to this day.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
Yeah.
Still...
But like, I feel like Counter-Strike makes a lot more money,
Yeah.
But yeah, this is cool to see,
Okay.
and hopefully this gives us more cool TF2 mods going forward. Also, sorry, what are you saying?
So it's a new month.
Okay.
Hold on.
There it is, baby.
That's what I want to hear. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I've been waiting for.
There it is. 22
Good
months.
soundbite.
You'll love to see it.
Yeah, 22 months. Holy shit.
But as well, I think with the announcement, they said that they are basically going into their, because they've updated the Source branch with the Source SDK. They're also doing big updates to their old multiplayer back catalog. So Source engine titles like Day of Defeat Source, Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, Counter-Strike Source, and Half-Life Deathmatch Source. Half-Life 2 Deathmatch Source, Half-Life 2. That's it. They're adding 64-bit binary support, scalable HUD UI, prediction fixes, and a lot of other improvements. So like they fixed up Half-Life 2 recently. I think we're going to be seeing like not as much love as Half-Life 2 got, but basically this is going to be easier to run on modern systems, potentially Steam Deck. I don't know if you'll be able to. It'll be like Steam Deck verify like Day of Defeat or something like that. But let's have a look. So if I go on Day of Defeat Source, because I don't have Day of Defeat Source installed, so I have no idea if it's actually received an update recently. Oh yeah, February 18th, they added 64-bit support, added radial fog from the Half-Life 2 20th Anniversary Edition update, made the game launch in native resolution by default instead of 640 times 480. Like they fixed a lot of like weird old bugs. It has bicubic light maps now, thanks to the Half-Life 2 20th version update. Is it Steam Deck verified then? So it's playable on Steam Deck. I don't know what the status was before, but it is playable. So that's interesting. But yeah, Team Fortress 2 Classic has an official store page, and I looked at the blog post for Open Fortress, and they have one for February 18th where they've said that they're not sure what they're going to be doing, what their future is yet. So they're still waiting to make an announcement on whether they have a Steam page for their mod, but I think that would be a very good idea. Move on to tech news. The iPhone 16e has been announced. It is a £600 budget phone. Kind of feels going to say £600 budget phone, but it has the same 16 chip as the iPhone 16. You have a OLED screen, the Retina display, the same old 60 hertz panel that you get with the flagship. There is no MagSafe or extra cameras, but you are kind of just getting like it's kind of a iPhone 16, but for a lot cheaper.
Yeah. When other companies do it, this like sort of category of phone tends to be called like the flagship cover. Like it has like a lot of the features from it, but they like thin some stuff down so you get all the good stuff, and like you're just missing some stuff.
Yeah, so they have like, because this is replacing the SE line, which made no sense.
Yeah.
If you don't know, SE stands for second edition, and we have
the name made no sense. The actual phone made sense.
We had 3 or 4 different SE phones, which was like
I believe there was 4 in the end.
That's like 4 second editions, like but I think like just being like
the problem is like
it was the iPhone really 16, the E edition. What does the E stand for? An E. What does E stand for here?
Like
economy.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I feel like I understand why they use that too.
I feel like Apple would never want to be like, this is the budget. We're the budget company. We do budget things. No, I feel like Apple doesn't want that branding.
No. And even then, I don't know. I just feel like with the name SE, like I feel like it was so successful. Like, okay, people know what the SE is. But yeah, I guess Yeah, you know what generation it comes from, you know what sort of hardware and like what year it came out, so that's actually kind of better in my opinion.
I'm
It's not just SEO over and
kind
over
okay.
again.
I put this in because I'm kind of tempted by this. I have an iPhone
Really?
XR and it's getting old. I think it's like 7 years old now, coming up to 7 years old, and I feel like the battery is
Really?
getting a
It's
bit
that
slow.
old?
And personally, for me, I'm not really caring about the extra cameras. I'm not really caring
No.
about MagSafe. Um,
I think myself would be cool, but yeah, I
so
just plug it in.
someone who can get like pretty much the iPhone 16 experience, but a lot cheaper. I think this is
Yeah,
kind of tempting to pick up this phone, but we'll have
100%.
to wait
Yeah.
and see. Yeah.
I'm definitely yeah, £600 sort of like phone sort of. I
Yeah.
was like a lot lower, but then it's like I'm now like £600 is like what I want my phone to cost.
I wrote down there was some video news that the 5070 Ti and the 5070 exist, but I'm
Uh
just kind of bored by the
no,
entire 50 series
no,
lineup.
it's not worth talking about.
The 9070 XT does look interesting, but I've heard that some companies are already breaking MSRP for the
Yeah,
9070
I don't know
XT.
if you watched some hardware unbox video. Like I feel like
No.
his information at the end was really interesting. So apparently, like it was he like spoke to some like people. He's in Australia, right? Hardware unbox, Australians,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like talking to like
Tim and
American or like
Steve.
Australian. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's like what he said. Like he was talking to retailers, and apparently like with some of the early cards, like they're actually getting $50 rebates. So like apparently like it was supposed to launch at $650. So he was like predicting that there would be very few that would be sold at 600 that very quickly like be increased above MSRP. And there's also then like the quote unquote overclocked models, which makes it like immediately like too like much more expensive. So he didn't really trust the MSRP value.
But like price per frame for MSRP for the 9070 XT, I think the 9070 XT is the
Yeah.
most valuable, like price is the
Yeah.
most like price to performance best card. Like it does. I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like AMD does this where it's like they make a card that costs $50 more, and it doesn't make sense to buy the cheaper card.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like that's what's happened here. Yeah. But at least it's like at least compared to Nvidia, like at this time around, like, they've actually made it somewhat competitive. But like, yeah,
But like
I don't think it's gonna stay that low.
with
Like,
AMD, like
I'm up to
FSR,
date, right?
I don't know if you've seen like a Digital Foundry video on FSR 4, but FSR 4 is actually genuinely the same as or better than the CNN model of DLSS at this point. Like they've got very
Oh,
good,
really?
and the
No, I
only
didn't
thing
realize it
that
was
beats
that
them
good.
out is the transformer model of DLSS.
Right. That's
So like
interesting.
their image upscaling has become very good. The price to performance is good. The rasterization performance is good. Their ray tracing performance has got really good. It's still not as strong as Nvidia, but it's getting a lot closer. But like it's to a point where like I think people are going to consider buying AMD cards because this has been like one of the weakest generations
Uh,
for
hang on. I just went to
NVIDIA.
Overclockers UK. The 90,000 AMD cards out of stock.
Oh, it's not a paper launch, is it?
I don't know if it's a paper launch. There's loads of people trying to buy everything. Like to me, a paper launch is
Probably
like
scalpers,
you've
right?
got low. Yeah, to me, a paper launch is like you've got low. Sorry, you've got. You just have low supply, I suppose. Like what makes it a paper launch, right? If you have a high supply but a really high demand, is that can you seriously say it's a paper launch? Or it's just been like too popular.
I'm just looking at eBuyer now. It's like everything's like pre-order, pre-order, pre-order,
So
pre-order. But
yeah,
it's also like there's no founder editions
700 to
cards, right?
800.
AMD doesn't
Yeah.
do like founders edition cards
No,
really,
no,
do they?
no, no. That I don't. I think they did once and it backfired. I think, and it's like, well,
Right.
who cares? Yeah, like I'm actually surprised like how close they are to 600. Like they're not all 600, and they're all out of stock. So I guess we'll see what it restocks at. But yeah, between 600 and 800, depending like what brand you go for, right? Like, if you go for an Asus, it's going to be too expensive.
Because I
Let's
saw
be
on
honest.
read it that there was a retailer that said the MSRP only applies to the first shipments, price set to increase
Yeah,
over MSRP later.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but I guess we'll have to see because it's all
That's
just
what Steve was
like
saying from the Game
the
Pass unbox.
sapphires and the Asus and the
Yeah,
power colors. Whether they'll increase the prices of their third party
the thing is,
boards.
like, even with like a normal launch, like if you like a few years ago, right, like before pandemic craziness, there's always like third party, and again, AMD only has like third party people who make the cards, right? But there's
Yeah.
always like, oh, we'll make a range of cards like crossing from the MSRP, but probably a little bit more than that to like a lot more expensive. And then you have like JT saying, oh, there's no point going for that. Try and go for the cheapest one. It's really the die that makes a difference, and make sure the cooling is good enough. And that's like the only thing you have to really consider. That's still kind of where we're at. They're still trying to like they still want like the higher margin card they're trying to sell. And that's what they're optimizing for. So we're still in that regime.
Yeah, I genuinely think like the 9070 XT it's getting to a point where AMD is actually kind of caught up with Nvidia because Nvidia's slowed
Yeah,
down and AMD's like massively leaped up.
but they're
Um,
still losing ray tracing. But I think that they've closed the gap a lot better. I feel.
I'm feeling like if you're somebody who has like a 20 series card, a 30 series card, a 10
Yeah,
series, especially a
me.
10 series card,
Oh
um,
yeah.
this actually would be a very good time to switch to Team Red. I genuinely believe that.
If it's in stock,
Yeah.
and we'll see what the prices are when they're back in stock. But I don't seem to be in stock in the UK at the moment.
But yeah, we'll have to see. Like, I think it's going to be really telling when we see, like, well, one, how many people are going to go, fuck it, I'm going to buy Nvidia anyway, which is definitely going to happen.
Oh, can they?
And
If there's no stock of it.
yeah, well, they'll get restocks and they'll get super models and stuff like that. Um,
Oh, sure.
but like, I think it's going to be, we'll see what happens this generation, but I think it's really going to be telling like how Nvidia responds with the 6000 series and how AMD
Yeah.
hits back with the next generation? Like, are they still going to be
Well,
like,
I
okay, we're just going to hammer into the mid range and get
I
the
expect
buyers?
Nvidia to hit back in terms of pricing with the super refresh first.
Do you think they'll do like a super price cut on a lot of the cards?
I think they can do exactly what they did with the 40 series, but like
Is
it'd be
that even
very maybe a
possible
small
on
improvement.
third
I don't
party
know.
cards? To be
To
like,
some
it
extent,
should cost this much, and then retailers are like, no, it costs thousands of pounds.
yeah. So like Nvidia apparently has like Nvidia especially apparently has like a lot of like pushback and offers rebates to like keep them where they want it, and that is like rebates to the stores, not just to like the card partners.
But yeah, let's go on to the main news, which is there was a Sony State of Play, and I've got some trailers I was interested in. And of course, number one, Tony, we've got Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. We got a brand new gameplay trailer for Sonic Cross Worlds. So it seems like the way it works in this one is you have like the front car can like change the map by going through portals to like change to a different level. So you're not only on like a static level, but you kind of like completely change up the racetrack as you go along, sort of thing. And you
So there's
even,
multiple racetracks in parallel then.
I think so, yeah. I saw like a Digital Foundry to talk about on the DF Direct podcast where they played some of the beta of it,
Right.
and they were saying like it plays like a low resolution, like low frame rate video of the map that you're going to come to, and then you drive through it, and then you're there. That was like a it's not like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, but because this thing's
Oh
gonna
right.
be have to run on like a base PS4 or like a Switch or something, right?
Yeah.
So, but they said like that you go into there's I like the transform stuff back. So you got the water vehicles, you've got the flying vehicles, you have the Connect racer boards are in this game as well. Apparently, it looks like, which looks
Yeah. How
interesting.
does that work? So, but I guess you
Um,
don't change you just change different map and then you have that vehicle to that map, right?
Also, we haven't seen any non-Sonic characters, but there is Sega maps. Like there is maps that were in like the Sonic All Star Racing Transformed game. So there is like
Okay, right.
the maps are going outside of Sonic, but the characters aren't so far. I still really wish they would do non-Sonic stuff as well. Put Will
Maybe
Persona
that's
in your
DLC.
game. Put
Maybe that's like an easier
put
thing to do.
Makoto Persona in your game.
Oh
Put
yeah.
Hulkenberg kart in. We'd love to see it. But it seems pretty cool. Apparently, they were saying on the direct that in the beta you could like have micro stats to your car as well. So you could like there was some sort of system where you could change the handling and how far away you could collect rings and stuff like that. There was like micro adjustments you can make with the car, and the individual stats of each racer was really important in terms of like handling, acceleration, top speed, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, looks interesting. I'm interested to see more about this.
Yeah. More than the previous one, right?
Then we have Directive 8020, which is from the guys behind The Quarry and Until Dawn. It is Supermassive Games, and they're doing like a one of those like narrative horror games on a sci-fi ship in space. This is really like completely different from any of the settings from the other games they've done, and I love sci-fi stuff. I've been watching the Alien films recently, so very interested to see like a narrative horror game done in space. I think this looks really cool. Very
As Jay
excited.
Berman points out, it's the technically the best place for horror because you literally can't leave.
Yeah. Or if you're underwater as well, that'd be a good place.
Yeah.
Speaking of being
Totally
underwater,
isolating.
Ichiban is coming to Dave the Diver. This is the official Ichiban's Holiday is official DLC for Dave the Diver. Yakuza character is coming to Dave the Diver, which is really
That's
cool
wild.
to see. I reinstalled Dave the Diver to play the Balatro crossover, and you can play you play full ass Balatro inside fucking Dave the Diver. I don't know if I'm gonna reinstall to play this, but it looks pretty interesting. And yeah, I like Ichiban as a character, so it's cool to see.
Yeah.
Darwin's Paradox is a brand new game from Konami. I looked up the development studio that was making it under Konami, but I could not find anything about them. So I'm just like, Konami is making this game then. It is an interesting, smaller scale game from Konami. It's kind of looks like puzzle platforming, sort of more like slower paced, almost like, was it like Odd Grub? Was it Odd World? Like or like
yeah.
it reminds me. It's sort of almost like Inside or Limbo, or even like Little Nightmares. Sort of like more slower paced cinematic platforming.
I would looking at these bits like I would say Oddworld is probably a better comparison. Because slower, deliberate, and like
Getting a lot of Octodad vibes from this game.
Yeah, with the humor.
Yeah,
this could be good.
it looks pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lies of P is getting an expansion or a prequel, because I was like, what is going on in the story? But apparently it's set before the events of the Lies of P game. So it's got more of like a winter setting. I don't know if they're reusing some of the areas, but this is cool for Lies of P fan. I think it's Korean Bloodborne. Here we go. Then we have Saros, which is not much to talk about because it's a purely cinematic trailer, but it is a brand new game from House Marquee, the creators of Returnal. So it's cool to see them. I initially saw this trailer of a guy waking up in a sand with like a beard, and I was like, is this a Dune game? What is happening? But no, it is.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the Atreides character.
Yeah. But no, it is very much.
Is this an Atreides?
Like one of the lead devs on this game, like they completely modeled his face because he looks exactly like this character, sort of thing. Which I thought was interesting as well.
Definitely an interesting trailer.
We also got an announcement of Days Gone Remastered, a game that I have no idea was being remastered. Because I believe that the studio wanted to do like a sequel, and PlayStation was like,
Yeah.
no. And then the guy who was running it quit. And now they're like, by the way, can you guys remaster this game? It's done pretty well on PC. And they're like, yeah, sure.
Wasn't it
So,
like really well optimized for the PS4, right?
and it's like good on the PC as well.
Yeah.
So the
Let's
content,
hope
so
remaster doesn't fuck it up.
it's like the Horizon Zero Dawn upgrade. So it's going to be $10 that you have to pay. But I didn't really think it was worth it, but you will get a horde mode, a survival arcade mode of Horde Assault, a permadeath mode, a speedrun mode, DualSense haptic feedback support, new accessibility features, and an enhanced photo mode, which I was like, I don't feel like I need to pay £10 for this,
No.
right, as an upgrade. So I'm just like, kind of whatever.
And it better still run just as well, because otherwise I feel like it's not an upgrade.
They've not been like, and there's going to be new ray tracing and stuff that you couldn't do in the original version, right? It just feels like it's more some additional game mode stuff, right?
Yeah. Doesn't seem that necessary.
And then we have Dreams of Another, which I think is probably one of the more interesting striking games they announced, which was... It's called Dreams of Another, but it immediately reminds me of that PlayStation game Dreams, where you make like these weird, like...
Oh, yeah.
Pixel dot rendering? I don't know how you describe this
like
kind of...
voxel rendering?
Yeah, it's weird rendering, but then... Dream-ass rendered game, but you have guns as well, but you don't use the guns to kill, you use the guns to curate.
The guns of creation.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in this game, but it might be shit, but it's definitely interesting. I will say that. But yeah, that is the Sony state of the play. Anything that jumps out to you there that you think is interesting? Obviously,
I mean,
Sonic Racing game is the standout of the show.
Yeah. No, yeah, some of those look interesting actually.
There was a bunch of like
no.
new IP stuff. A lot from like Chinese and Asian developers, but I just kind of was like, I just don't really have much to say about them. They look okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I thought this was some of the more interesting stuff that they announced.
I think the Returnal developer one. I'm curious to know more of. Like, I'm hoping like their concepts at least so far have been interesting. I'm so interested. I just want to know more at this point.
Yep. You can check us out at Everything Inbetween Podcast on YouTube, youtube.com. Yep. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, and shows.acast.com/everything-inbetween-podcast if you want to listen to the audio-only version on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or just load up the YouTube video on YouTube Music and listen to it there. It is listed as a podcast and will function like
that'd be the better way to do it.
Yeah. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.